The Constitution of India, Preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution.
Wishing you a very fantabulous Friday. Let me begin from where I have stopped in the previous week. If I am right, it is with the quoting of Isaac Newton, I think so. Men build so many walls, but not enough bridges. Thought provoking, isn't it? Did you think about this saying? If not, please think. And even I concluded with the statement that relationship never meet its natural death. The question begins from here. Children, tell me, do you have limits for a healthy relationship? The answer is no. But it is time for us to think about it, children, as unlimited freedom can also end up in miseries. It cannot be enjoyed too. Imagine a situation where your neighboring children comes to your house, open their fridge, takes up and eats whatever they want, take your toys and play with it. Will you like it? This is from where we will have to create a limitation, a control. Only then you can maintain a good relationship. This is what we are going to analyze in the poem Mending Wall by Robert Frost. Mending Wall is a narrative poem that presents the encounter between two neighbors where their property line is marked with a stone fencing. Each spring they meet each other to repair the damage that is created to the wall due to the winter weather. Even Robert Frost says that wall is an evil thing where it discriminates people, things and their culture. He also goes for telling that there is a supernatural power in the universe that doesn't love a wall as it is an evil thing. But analyzing the poem, we will come to know how to maintain a long-lasting relationship with neighbors or relatives, establishing such walls. The style of the poem is blank verse, where the poem has unrhymed lines. The mood of the poem is anger of the poet, the narrator, where he tells that people have created walls where it is not necessary. Hence, wall does not stand for a physical wall, but it is also a metaphoric wall. Restrictions, limitations, boundaries, hindrances, obstacles. Theme is that it explores the contradictions of human life, where people make boundaries and they break boundaries. Frost wrote this poem when he was living in England with the very colloquial tone and language. It is a comparison between two lifestyle traditions and common sense. Now we will see to the poem Mending Wall by Robert Frost, where wall stands as a metaphorical symbol for restrictions, limitations, boundaries, hindrances, obstacles. Yes, here we begin with the poem Mending Wall. We have already read the poem the previous class, so directly we will move on to the lines. Mending wall, already we have said wall is a metaphorical representation where it stands for restrictions, boundaries, limitations, traditions, all those things. Okay. The first line, something there is that doesn't love a wall. That's what he said. Robert Frost believes in the supernatural power, the strong force. There is something in nature that doesn't love a wall. This is what he begins with. He wants to share some of his ideas to the public, and he gives a statement, and then he gives reasons for the statement what he has said. There is something that doesn't love a wall, that sends a frozen ground swell under it and spills the upper boulders in the sun and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. The work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair, where they would have left not one stone on a stone, but they would have the rabbit out of hiding, to please the yelping dogs. The gaps, I mean, no one has seen them made or heard them made. But at spring mending time, we find them there. Here we will stop. The first part. Something there is that doesn't love a wall. There is something, there is a strange force. I believe in a strange force in nature that doesn't love a wall. That is what the reason for the crack, repair in the wall. Poet narrates, says, speaks. It's like a monologue, a dramatic monologue. He says there is something in nature that doesn't love a wall. That is why the crack, that is why the reason for the crack in the wall. We might have also seen the cracks in our house, in a building. A crack might come from the top. So what people may say, yes, foundation is not so strong. Might be that is a reason for the crack in the wall. So there is something underneath the ground that creates a crack. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends a frozen ground swell under it. Frozen ground. So winter season, it is completely filled with ice. It is frozen. It is not that easy for people to come out, walk, roam about and see what's happening outside during winter season. So I have already said Robert Frost has written this poem when he was living in England. So winter seasons there, it is extremely cold. Ice falls. So during the next season, during spring season, it is a time for flowering. So that is the time where people come out for a walk. That sends a frozen ground swell under it. So the ground, because of the previous season, it is frozen inside. Now as the season has changed, the frozen ice can expand, swell. And what happens is the stone walls topples down and spills the upper boulders in the sun. Spills, cracks, falls down. The upper boulders, it is not gravel, small stones, it is big stones. Okay, and spills the upper boulders in the sun outside. The problem that is created underneath the earth reflects outside. So there is something in nature that doesn't love a wall. I suspect it to be, I doubt it to be, the first reason might be the frozen ground. And makes gaps even two can pass abreast. It's not a simple crack that can be neglected or ignored. The crack is that big where two people can pass through it. So it has to be mended. You cannot leave it carelessly. So day by day it will get destroyed. There will be no fence at all. So right now if I don't take action for this, the whole wall is going to be destroyed. So, and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. The workers of hunters is another thing. I suspect it to be the work of hunters. First reason what the poet feels is that it might be the frozen ground. Now he doubts it to be the hunters. Hunters, they come for hunting rabbits. So at that time, they might have dislodged the boulders to find the rabbits easily. To disturb the rabbits from their hiding place and to get them outside, these hunters might have destroyed the wall. The work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair. I have repaired it after they have gone. Where they would have left not one stone on a stone. Totally everything is destroyed. Every stone has been fallen down. It has lost its shape. But they would have the rabbit out of the hiding. They have destroyed the wall, but they would have got the rabbit. How? For what? To please the yelping dogs. Yelping dogs, barking dogs. Hunters, usually they take dogs with them for hunting. So when the dogs chase the rabbits, they get scattered and they go here and there, and it is easy for hunters to catch them. The gaps, I mean. There is a crack, and the crack is not simple. It is that big that two people can pass by that way, by that space. No one has seen them made or heard them made. I have not seen anyone destroying the wall purposely. I have not heard them also doing, but I doubt it that it can be the hunters or it could be the season. Okay? The first part is okay, clear? Now, but at spring mending time, we find them there. I have not seen them making, but when we come outside during the spring season for walk, when I inspect the walls or the fencing, I have noticed the wall has undergone a crack. But at spring mending time, we find them there. I let my neighbor know beyond the hill, and on a day we meet to walk the line and set the wall between us once again. We keep the wall between us as we go. To each the boulders that have fallen to each, and some are loaves and some so nearly balls. We have to use a spell to make them balance. Stay where you are until our backs are turned. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. This is the second part. Okay, it begins. But at the spring, nobody has seen it, but at the springtime when we came outside, I have noticed it. So I cannot leave it as it is. So what I did, but at spring mending time, we find them there. I immediately called my neighbor too. Who is I? Robert Frost, the poet. I let my neighbor know beyond the hill. He is living by the other side of the hill. I didn't repair the wall by myself. I wanted my neighbor also to come, and we both wanted to mend the wall. Again, there is an irony. The thing is, the wall that separates the people unites the people too. So what I did is, I let my neighbor know beyond the hill, and on a day we meet to walk the line. After informing my neighbor about this, I wanted my neighbor to join this mending process, and we fixed a date, a convenient date for repairing or mending the wall that has underwent the damage because an unknown reason. And set the wall between us once again. What we did is, we stood, we met each other, and we discussed on how to mend the walls, because he wanted the wall again. We keep the wall between us as we go. On the day that we have already fixed, we started mending the wall, and we walked by the wall, and I repaired from my side, and he started repairing from his own side. We keep the wall between us as we go. To each the boulders that have fallen to each. This destruction or this damage has not been created very recently. A long time back, it has met its destruction. So what has happened when the stone falls, boulders fall one over the other, they may break into pieces and they will lose their shape. So we keep the wall between us as we go, to each the boulders that have fallen to each. Boulders, I said stone. They have fallen to each other, and some are loaves and some are so nearly balls. You have seen loaves like this. Some stones have changed to the shape of loaves, and some stones have changed to the shape of balls. Think, how is it possible to reconstruct this wall with the same stones? Is it possible? Is it possible to cement it with uneven, shapeless stones? Very difficult, isn't it? We have to use a spell to make them balance. Spell magic. It was a very tiresome task. It was very difficult for them to mend that wall, as the stones have lost their shape. Some have turned to be loaves and some to the balls. And here there is a reference, or there is the figure of speech used here is metaphor. Loaves, stones in the shape of loaves and balls. And now the next line is within the quote marks. What does it mean? It is like direct speech. Stay where you are until our backs are turned. It is in that form of direct speech. It is said to somebody. Who has said this? Robert Frost. To whom? To the stones. They say it is very difficult to lay the stones, shapeless stones, again to the same position. So they ask the stones, speak to the stones, please stones stay where you are until our backs are turned. Until, we will keep it, we will lay it safe there until our backs are turned, at least for that moment, for that fraction of second. Can you please stay there? It is personification. Stones are given the qualities of children. As we speak to the children. So please children, can you please get seated here? Don't disturb. At least for 10 minutes can you sit? We may ask children like this. In the same way, the poet asks the stones to stay where they are. Why? He says it's so painful Don't you know that how much pain we take to mend the wall, this damaged wall, repair this wall? We wear our fingers rough with handling them. See, our hands have turned so rough handling people. So for the sake of God, please stay where you are. If you fall again and again, we will have to keep, our work will not be completed. It is like Sisyphean task. Sisyphean task. Reference to Greek mythology. By the time he takes it to the top, it falls down. Again he comes back and pushes the stone to the top. That work doesn't get over. Even their condition was also the same. The moment they place the stones over it, it falls back. Okay, so stay where you are until our backs are turned. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. They speak to stones as they speak to children. So here it is personification. Okay. They know it will not stand for a long time, but still they expect the wall to stand at least for some time, because they have taken up the pain to mend it. They also go to an extent of telling that there is a need for magic to keep the walls straight and erect. Fine. We'll move on to the next set. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game. One on a side, it comes to little more. There where it is, we do not need the wall. See to the line? It is the main concept of the poem lies in this line. There where it is, we do not need the wall. He is all pine and I am apple orchard. My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his spines, I tell you. He only says, good fences make good neighbors. So, what he says about the task, the work while mending is that he wants to add up humor to the difficult situation. So, normally Robert Frost's poem begins with joy and ends with wisdom, isn't it? So, here he wants to add up some humor to what he says, because the concept of differentiating between the traditions and common sense has to be dealt in a very serious and serious way right now. So, he wants to add up humor. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game. What game is referred to here? Where small children would have played brick games, building up or keeping one block over the other. When it reaches the top, it falls down. Again you will build. You will make it into so many different shapes, colors, isn't it? So what you do is, you mend it, you destruct it. You construct it, you destruct it. So it is like a game. And also here, that one more game has been connected with. It is like the concentric circles. So this mending of the wall was like an outdoor game, like a brick game. On a side, it comes to little more. No use of mending this wall, I know that, but still, there where it is, we do not need the wall. This is the main concept of the poem. The poet wants to tell, wall is okay, good. It gives you safety, security, all those things. But people create walls where it is not necessary. That is the problem. This is what you have to mend. So, there where it is, we do not need the wall. So, when we mend it again and again, it is not standing properly. So, I think that there is no need of mending the wall or creating a wall here in this place. I have a reason for this. Why? He is all pine and I am apple orchard. It is I am respect of again. I bring up apple orchard. I have an apple garden in my place. Actually, I should be worried about mending the wall. But I am not interested in mending the wall. I am a person with a concept that there is no need of a wall in that place. And he brings up the pine trees. Actually, apple trees are not going to harm the pine trees. Only the resin from the pine trees will affect my apple garden. When I am not worried, why is he insisting me to mend the wall again? That is his question. He is all pine and I am apple orchard. The next line is personification. My apple trees will never get across. This is personification. Okay. My apple trees will never go to his place and harm his pine trees and eat the cones under his pine. I tell him. I wanted to give him an awareness. My apple trees will never invade your pine trees. Then why do you compel me to join this task of mending the wall? He only says, good fences make good neighbors. He was not ready to hear what the narrator or the poet was interested in speaking out. It was to the deaf ears everything went. Spring is the mischief in me and I wonder if I could put a notion in his head. Actually, my motive was to give him an awareness telling that there is no need of a wall there. So what I did is, spring is the mischief in me. Actually, here spring stands as a metaphor. It is also the spring season. Here the spring season creates some mischievous activities. Isn't it? Only because of the spring season they came to know about the crack in the wall. And also spring here is the action. It shoot up. It grow in my, emerged from my. Spring is the mischief in me. I got a plan. My motto was to educate him. I want to give him the reasons why there is no need for a wall there. And I wonder if I could put a notion in his head. Notion, idea. So somehow or other I wanted to educate him telling that there is no need for a wall in that place because I bring apple trees and you bring up pine trees. Apple trees are not actually going to harm your pine trees, then why do you worry? I am not interested in creating a wall, but you say good fences make good neighbors. You insist in your say. It is a common saying, old saying. Spring in the mischief in me, that moment sprang up from my mind an idea to educate him. Why do they make good neighbors? Who is a good neighbor? Someone who is so nice, dependable, understandable, and at least we should have an attitude, mindset to smile with each other. It should not be like turning our face and moving when you look at them, ignoring them. So good neighbors are approachable, adjustable, understandable, dependable, respectable. So now I asked him, why do they make good neighbors? How is it possible to make good neighbors? I gave him an example. where there are cows, but here there are no cows. Where there are cows, we will have to see to the fencing, because there is a chance for the livestock to cross the boundaries, go for grazing and destroy the plants in the other side. We don't bring up cows or goats in our place. We both don't bring up. Then why should we worry about it? It is an apple tree in my side and pine tree in your side. Where there are cows, I agree with you, there is a need for a wall. But here there are no cows. Then why should we build a wall here? I wanted to give him an idea in his mind to think about it. My motive was to give him an education and awareness to come out of the traditional system, to think with common sense. But he was not ready to listen to my words. He was very adamant. I said to him, before I built a wall, I would ask to know. I should try to know. I need to know what I was walling in or walling out. What I was trying to protect in walling in, what I was trying to ignore walling out, ignore outside the wall. Building a wall, what am I protecting within the wall or what am I opposing outside the wall? And to whom I was like to give offense. And also I should know to whom I am offending with. So there should be a reason for constructing a wall, isn't it? Think, make it practical. Use your common sense. So here, before I built a wall, before repairing the wall, I should need to find out what I am walling in and walling out, what I am trying to protect within myself and what I am going to stand against, ignore, keep it aside. And also I need to know whom am I planning to offend with. Something there is that doesn't love a wall. Again, he has repeated this sentence again. It was in the beginning something. He wants to insist in his idea that he has framed. Something is there. When you keep repeating the lines, you are very strong in that point of view. So here something there is that doesn't love a wall. I believe in that supernatural force that destroys the wall with no reason, that wants it down. Something is there that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down, to break it. I could say yells to him. Yells, fairies, spirits. Okay, so I could say who would have destroyed this wall? The first reason whom I doubted is the hunters, and the second thing might be the weather, and third thing it might be yells. But it's not yells exactly. I know that very clearly. It is not yells even. And I would rather he said it for himself. I know that it is not yells. My neighbor said to himself, it is not yells. And now saying that, I see him there. Where? I see him there at the other side of the wall. What is he doing? Bringing a stone grasped firmly by the top in each hand, like an old stone savage arm. Here it is simile, like an old stone savage armed. Arm, weapon. Like old stone aged people. Old stone aged people, What was their weapon? It was stones, isn't it? So old Stone Age people, they were not civilized. So he was walking like that, like old Stone Age people. He was holding the stones over his head and hand. He was walking. He moves in darkness as it seems to me. Here it is metaphor. Moves in darkness. I could see him there in darkness. Also the darkness here represents his illiteracy, lack of common sense. So not only in the darkness of the place he walks, even in the darkness of his mind. He was not ready to accept the new novel ideas. He stays like the person who belongs to the old Stone Age period. Outdated. Okay, so according to the situation, according to the trend of the community, we will have to update ourselves with the sense of finding out the good and bad. So here we have two people. One is a farmer, insider, and the other one is an observer, outsider. Insider is farmer and outsider is observer. Separated by differences. Insider, the farmer, wanted to educate the outsider, this observer, but he was not ready to accept this new ideas, novel changes. He wanted to stay back in his old period era. He moves in darkness as it seems to me. Not only in the darkness of the time he walks, but also the darkness to his mind. He was an ignorant person. Not of woods only and the shades of tree. He walks not only in the darkness of woods, small forests like woods, or in the shades of tree, but also he is ignorant to himself, not ready to learn. I am now sure he will not go behind his father's saying. He will not go behind, he will not go away from what his father has educated him. And he likes having thought of it so well. He says again, good fencers make good neighbors. Insider wanted to educate the outsider, but the outsider was not ready to learn. So the poem ends with a frustration. The poet wanted to convince him with maximum examples, maximum illustrations, but he was not ready to accept it. He was ready to stay as an old-fashioned person. So here, mending the wall, it is not the wall physically, but also metaphorically we said. Mending the wall can be the ignorant ideas that you have created in your mind. The speaker has tried to mend the walls of his own personality. Whether it is right or wrong, nobody knows, but he has tried to rectify his mistakes. And the poet does not moralizes anyone. He has not taught anyone, this is right or this is wrong, he has not said. He has just demonstrated. And the decision is left to the hands of the readers. Okay, so the poem ends with the mild frustration. Poet till the end he tried to educate him, but it went to the deaf ears of the listener, the neighbor. Even till the end he kept saying, good fencers make good neighbors. The irony of the poem is that the poet says that he is not interested to create the wall, but why did he stand along with the neighbor to mend the wall? Throughout the poem, the farmer has blamed the neighbor. Why shouldn't he stop his work? Why did he go for calling out the neighbor for the first time, telling that there is a crack in the wall, come, we'll mend together? So it is an irony in the poem. This poem represents life's duality, destruction and creation. Destruction is not always bad when it tries to protect some good neighbors. And construction is not always good when it is not useful at all. Robert Frost's wall stands as a symbol of ambiguity. What is it? It is separating and uniting the people at the same time. The practical purpose of wall is to divide the people. But the sake of mending the wall, it unites the people. And throughout the poem, it is like a Sisyphean task. The character from the Greek mythology, as I have said earlier, action becomes endless and futile. Till the end of the poem, they were not able to mend the wall. And here we said there are two people, and the narrator is more flexible and open than the old-fashioned neighbor. He tries to see things in a different way. Narrator seems to be a friendly person who needs communication with his neighbor, but a separation has caused because of the blind following of the tradition. So here the property is the trees. They will not go from one place to another. So the question of the poet, the narrator, is why should we go for mending the walls? Something continuously is there to destruct the wall. One or the other reason happens in destroying the wall. The poem began as a quest for identifying the destroyer of the wall and ends in the meditation of the values for the traditions and boundaries. It is a wake-up call for the universe. It tries to mend the habits of people that can't be seen to shake. So did you get to understand the poem? The figures of speech? The repetition of the sentences, something is there that doesn't love a wall, and good fences make good neighbors. Simile, metaphor, visual images, personification, paradox. Paradox, it sounds right when it is said in the opposite way. Till the end, neighbor was so stubborn, sticking up to his old traditional method. He was not ready to bring any change in his behavior. Okay, so it is all about mending and maintaining good relationship. What do you feel about this poem? Is it not a food for your thought? Isn't it? I do think so. Yes, it was quite easy to understand the poem with a very simple language, and only great poets can do that. This poem was pleasing to eyes and pleasing to mind, isn't it? Here, the narrator stands for the broad-minded internationalism, and the observer, the neighbor, stands for a selfish patriot. Okay, and assignment for this week is in page number 39. Think and write. Few questions are there. Try to answer the questions. And then activity 1 is elaborating the idea in the following line in the paragraph. Good fences make good neighbors. Write your own ideas. Then appreciation of the poem, and the third one is comparison of the poem with the poem given in the book. It is the lines from Tagore's Gitanjali. Okay, so comparison again. how to compare a poem with another poem, how on the basis of theme, relevance of the theme, language, style, and what the author or the poet wants to tell us. Under all these criteria, you will have to write your critical appreciation. Okay, so completing your work, submit it by 3rd September. Okay, you have enough time to write. Let me wind up this session by telling mutual trust and goodwill will definitely ensure good relationship with your neighbors, relatives and your friends. Right? There is no boundaries for good relationship. There is no boundaries for relationship. So, let us all be the embodiment of love, affection, peace and happiness. And until we meet next week, stay happy and stay healthy. Happy Onam to all. Bye.